What is it to embrace monk mode? What is it to embrace going dark or ghosting? The idea is you're shutting down the noise. You're not wasting your time scrolling on social media. You're focusing on who you want to be and who you want to become, and living the life you are made for, living a life on purpose. Because as it's been said, we only have one beautiful life to live. You have one chance. You don't want to waste it. I dare you to disappear for 75 days. And focus on you. To silence the drama, the negativity, and the noise. I challenge you to get clear on who you want to be and not who everyone else says you are already or who you should be. And learn to turn up the sound of your own voice. When you silence the noise, things change. Now, I'm on the 75 hard mental toughness challenge, so that's the number that comes to me off the bat. But choosing to go silent can be an absolutely incredible thing. There's a lot of words floating around about going dark, going monk mode, or ghost mode, being a ghost. The whole concept is learning to silence all the outward voices so that you can get clear about your ability to hear inside and hear this way, vertically, which hearing the voice of God, I think, is pretty profound. I'm on day 27 of the 75 Hard Challenge, a mental toughness program. It involves 5 core components. Very simply, one, you commit to drinking 1 gallon of water, doing 2 workouts, 45-minute workouts a day, one of them outside, eating a structured diet that aligns with your goals, no alcohol, no cheat days. You commit to reading 10 pages of personal development a day, and you take a progress photo every day. So this is one way that you can choose to go dark or go into monk mode. It comes from this idea of who are monks. Monks chose solitude and silence and the spiritual disciplines and pursued God rather than what the world said was of value. Now, most people aren't going to commit to a monastic lifestyle, and there are a lot of things that you leave behind in committing to do that. But you can embrace the essence of that, and the essence is learning to hear God's voice. The essence is learning to hear your own voice. What do you love? What were you made for? What are your gifts and talents? What would give meaning and purpose to your life? We live in a world that is so full of distractions and so full of noise that it can be really hard to think. I say this from personal experience, not just doing the 75 Hard Mental Toughness Challenge. That's one thing. But years ago, I was 21 years old and I committed to 90 days of solitude in the mountains. I ended up living in extreme solitude for 90 days. I would not recommend this because it was so extreme, but I lived in the mountains of northern British Columbia, and I was a ranch caretaker on a multi-million-dollar property, and I don't know how many hundreds of acres that property was, but I was the caretaker in the middle of winter, actually from about this time of year. I think it was February 4th to May 4th. In 1998, just gave away my age there. And it was probably the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. I saw one person I probably, when you average it out, saw some human once a week for coffee. And I think I went into town 1 or 2 days to get groceries, and 1 or 2 days my parents came out to bring me groceries. And at the end of this 90 days, I went 8 days without seeing a soul. So imagine that. This is the time before internet. Phones were very limited there. I was so far and remote into the mountains. I was 3 hours, I think, land travel from a hospital. And there was a satellite phone there, but I think it was like $1 a minute. And so it was not, and I was not rich. So whatever money I was making, very modest amount, being this caretaker, I didn't want to use for phone calls. I wasn't talking hours on end on the phone. There was some snail mail, a few phone calls, and like I said, I think I saw my neighbors, who were, to my knowledge, the last full-time trappers in British Columbia, the last people in this day and age to make their full living as trappers. And I saw them about once a week for coffee or dinner. And so that was a season. You talk about going dark. You talk about monk mode. I know what monk mode is. I never chose to go for 90 days. I committed to going for 1 or 2 weeks, and by a complex series of decisions and opportunities, I ended up staying in the mountains a few additional weeks, and that extended to another week or two. And before I knew it, I had spent, I think it was exactly 90 days in the mountains. And this is something I would never wish on my worst enemy because of the extreme solitude and living in that isolation, facing your demons, so to speak, facing the mental torment of being alone. We are not made to live alone. And I discovered that on a whole new level. But I came through that experience with a fortitude and an ability inside to know that if I ever had to endure a concentration camp or prison, I could survive solitary confinement for 90 days. And I cannot tell you what that has done in my the resolute strength that I have drawn on in the years since, in all the challenges that I have faced, in everything from physical challenges and business challenges and marital challenges and raising children. That is a fortitude and a strength that I've drawn on. And that is a gift that I would want to give everyone. And in a small way, you can grab hold of that, of those similar things that I gained in the mountains. You can gain it on another level. It may not be at that peak because you gain strength through those same difficulties. So the difficulty you experience can work in you the strength to almost the same degree. So what are you willing to sacrifice? What you are willing to sacrifice is equivalent to the reward you gain on the other side. So I really challenge you. What is it to embrace monk mode? What is it to embrace going dark or ghosting? The idea is you're shutting down the noise. You're not wasting your time scrolling on social media. You're focusing on who you want to be and who you want to become and living the life you are made for, living a life on purpose. Because as it's been said, we only have one beautiful life to live. You have one chance. You don't want to waste it. Your life is made up of years. But not just years, it's made up of months and weeks and days. And every day is made up of hours and minutes and seconds. Much of our life is lived in the monotony of the rhythms that we create, which is why habits are so profound. And changing those habits, changing one habit can absolutely transform your life. Changing 2 habits radically transform your life. Change 3 habits. Well, now you're almost a brand new person. So what can you change? What can you turn up? What can you turn down? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? If you don't know what to do, start with something like the 75 hard challenge, or do something like the 75 soft, or pick a mini habit and do the 75 mini that I've coined, which is just committing to one ridiculously simple mini habit, something so small that you cannot fail on your worst days, and begin to see your life transform that way. Because there is power in being quiet. Don't tell anybody what you're doing. Just shut down the noise. Stop responding to texts instantly. Maybe respond once a day to the important texts. Check email once a day. I mean, maybe you have to do it for work and many more times. I have a different kind of business, so I can do that. But select pockets of time to build focus and rhythms and routines. Don't just open an email because you get an email, an alert. Turn off the notifications on your phone. Get rid of the apps. I mean, clean out your life and silence the noise. If you want to grow, if you want to level up, you have to do what successful people do. And I'm telling you, I don't pick up my phone much. I hardly touch my phone unless I need to. I intentionally choose to use apps. I don't have distractions. I don't have alerts. I just got a new fancy watch and I made the mistake of putting notifications on here. And I don't want to be notified every time I get an email. I don't want to be notified every time a phone call comes in. I don't want to be notified. I want to track my health. I want to track my steps. I want to track my cardio and my sleep. I want this tool to serve me. I don't want to become a master to this tool. And I don't want to be enslaved to my phone. And I think that's what monk mode provides, is an opportunity to decide you're going to be your own master. You're not going to be a slave to a system. You're not going to be a slave to what the media says. And you have to know that your attention is worth more than you value. Other companies value your attention more than you value your own attention. And until you recognize the power of that, of your focus and your attention, your life will never change. We just had the Super Bowl, and I had to check just to verify, but as far as my quick research, a 30-second ad spot for the 2025 Super Bowl was $8 million. What is your attention worth to corporations and businesses? What is your attention worth to yourself? Where do you need to put your focus in order to change your life? And only when you begin to do that will your life change. Get clear on who you want to be, what you want to do, and what impact you want to have in the world. And the only way to get clear is to be quiet and make time in your life to listen and be still and focus and ask those hard questions and listen to the answers. Please subscribe if you haven't yet and share this video if you found value in it. I have a whole lot more to say about going dark, which I'll share on the next video. Please subscribe if you haven't yet and share this video if you found value in it. Stay tuned because this is a deep subject and it's really worth exploring.